right, we are in Unit 3, Chapter 7, Lesson 2. The objective: discover the fight for Mexican independence. We will learn why did Mexico want independence from Spain, and I will learn what was the role of Texas in the fight for independence from Spain. Here are your terms to know: exclude, liberation, republic, and displace. Growing unrest in New Spain. Guiding question: why did Mexico want independence from Spain? In the early 1800s, life was difficult for many colonists of New Spain. Colonists were excluded from the best jobs, which went to government administrators. In 1804, the Spanish king seized money and property from colonial churches. This hurt the economy. Many colonists lost their jobs because the churches had no money left to pay them. More and more colonists began to resent Spanish rule. On September 16, 1810, a priest in Dolores issued a grito or call for a rebellion against the Spanish. This priest, Father Miguel Hidalgo y Costilla, cared deeply about the people of his village. He wanted better opportunities for these people and for all Mexicans. His call for an uprising was a cause of key events that followed: the beginning of the Mexican War of Independence, the capture and execution of Father Hidalgo. However, the movement for independence did not end. Father Hidalgo had many followers who continued to work for liberation or freedom from Spanish rule. Jose Bernardo Gutierrez de Lara was one of these followers. Gutierrez de Lara traveled to Washington, D.C. in 1811 to ask the United States for help. He told American leaders of his plans to free Texas from Spanish rule and asked them for men, money, and supplies. He was told he would find all three in Louisiana, so he left Washington and set sail for New Orleans. When he arrived in New Orleans, Gutierrez de Lara began recruiting soldiers. Soon he had convinced an American officer to join him. Lieutenant Augustus McGee, a West Point graduate, resigned from the U.S. Army and joined Gutierrez de Lara's Texas expedition. McGee was made military commander of what was now called the Gutierrez-McGee expedition. Gutierrez was the overall commander. By August 1812, the Gutierrez-McGee expedition had gained many followers and was now called the Republican Army of the North. Its soldiers included Tejanos, Native Americans, and American filibusters. The Republican Army crossed the Sabine River into Texas and easily captured Nacogdoches. Then the Army marched to Goliad, gathering new volunteers along the way. The Republican Army captured Goliad in early November. However, a large Spanish force arrived and held the rebel army under siege for 3 months. When McGee died suddenly, American Samuel Kemper took command. The Spanish forces suffered heavy losses and retreated to San Antonio. Kemper's forces chased the Spanish and defeated them. Spanish officials at San Antonio surrendered the city to the Republicans. Then the victorious leaders issued a declaration of independence for Texas. Soon, however, problems arose within the ranks of the Republican leaders. Conflict between American and Mexican leaders. The Americans wanted an elected government, as in the United States, wanted Texas to be independent or to join the United States. The Mexicans wanted a government with appointed officials like New Spain's, wanted Texas to remain part of Mexico. In August 1813, the Republican Army fought the Spanish near the Medina River south of San Antonio, commanded by General Joaquin de Arredondo. The Spanish won a complete victory. Most of the rebels were killed in battle or after surrendering. The Spanish also tracked down and killed colonists in San Antonio who had helped the Republican Army. In fear, colonists deserted the towns of Goliad and Nacogdoches. A few Republican soldiers escaped capture. Some went back to the U.S., others went to Galveston Island. The Spanish crackdown was so brutal that Texas remained Spanish for another 7 years. Pirates, settlers, and revolutionaries. What was the role of Texas in the fight for independence from Spain? Even after the rebels' defeat at Medina, the rebellion continued. The rebels who had gone to Galveston Island made plans to keep fighting the Spanish. Galveston Island was an ideal base for attacking the Spanish fleet in the Gulf of Mexico. In 1816, rebel leaders declared that the port of Galveston was now part of the Mexican Republic. The rebels asked French pirate Louis Michel Uri to patrol the Gulf. Because he captured Spanish ships, the rebels named Uri the commander of Galveston. The next year, he helped revolutionary leader Francisco Mina move his forces into Mexico. Uri returned to Galveston, only to find it held by another pirate, Jean Lafitte. Uri sailed on to Florida. Lafitte had sided with the United States against Great Britain in the War of 1812. When that conflict ended, the pirate moved his base to Galveston Island and claimed to support Mexican independence. Like Uri, Lafitte was more interested in taking the valuable cargo that Spanish ships were carrying. At times, Lafitte's pirates attacked American ships until the U.S. Navy stopped them. Meanwhile, French colonists tried to start a colony on the Trinity River near present day Liberty. It's close to us, guys. Their leader, Charles Francois Lallemand, had been a general in the French Revolution. Lallemand's group built two forts. The Spanish governor was alarmed and sent troops to displace the French. Fearing a Spanish attack, the French left. The last of the filibusters was James Long of Natchez, Mississippi. Long and many others in Louisiana and Mississippi were angry because the United States had given up its claims in Texas. In 1819, Long led 300 rebels into Texas and easily captured Nacogdoches. The group declared Texas an independent republic and they elected James Long president. Long then went to Galveston Island to ask John Lafitte for help. Lafitte refused, saying Long's small band of rebels had no chance against the Spanish. Meanwhile, the Spanish attacked Long's forces in East Texas. Many were killed, including Long's brother, David. However, Long would not give up. He gathered more recruits and made a new plan to invade Texas by sea. His forces landed at Port Bolivar on Galveston Bay. Then in the fall of 1821, they moved inland to capture Goliad. The Spanish surrounded and captured Long's forces. Long was taken to Mexico City and was killed there. That's it.